I want to talk a little bit about what can Big do. They picked red side. They tried a big comp on the first game. They tried a little different comp as well on this second game. It did almost work out, not that much, but it did in the end. So what are we expecting for them to adapt to this third game, J-Real?
I think go back to early game, right? Just go back to taking the control, taking the lead, go back to having a lot of early game proactivity, because we saw when they built that one, it can just be over for them. And actually, if they had maybe a 5v5 comp instead of a 4-1, they could have potentially rocked that early game on this one too. So that's kind of my suggestion. Go back to team fighting, go back to early game prowess with a strong mid spike, and that would be what I would go for. We see the bans coming out here. We're seeing actually a big priority on Vixen. There's Xerath and LeBlanc, and the Rek'Sai taken once more from Big Chroma.
And what is going to be happening in this last ban, Solari? Because these bans are important. We see here Kindred, they're out. G2 Hell don't want to deal with Kindred.
Big Chroma are back at the at what they started this series with. They don't want the Shina playing on her most comfort picks, and I love it from Big Chroma because it is strong one. Right now they're also banning Outrail. The focus for them is clear. Shina was the shining star of the team in the previous game, and they really don't want this to happen to them again.
So priority to this top side and Ornn. We saw that this is a late game insurance. We saw this is a really safe pick to first pick here on blue side. On the other side, there's a Maokai. Also really important to control the objectives, really important to try to set up those objectives, to try to set up that vision. And okay, Big Chroma picking Ezreal here once again. Viego and possibly Nico on the other side. Let's talk about this, J-Real. Let's talk about these choices.
Yeah, it feels like G2 are just going, we're going to play a good team fight comp, we're going to make sure that we can get in onto this fight, and we're going to make sure that we have a lot of power. They're giving Sheena the Viego, which doesn't have the same early game access as maybe some of the other champs she plays, like the Rek'Sai, like the Kindred, and a little bit like the Jarvan, but it definitely has the carry potential of the Kindred in last game, and obviously on that performance of being such a strong carry, why not do it again? But the Kassadin lock from Vixen was not what I was expecting.
No, not at all, Solari. Please, what is the idea here? If you can explain it, if you know.
There are a couple of champions that Vixen plays quite a lot and the Vixen loves to play, but one of those that we haven't seen today is Kassadin. It is one of the pickpocket picks for Vixen, and I am quite excited to see this one being brought out for the most important game of the day and of this tournament. I wonder how the rest of the composition is going to be playing around, because right now we have the control and engage, we have more engage, but we also have poke, so I really want to see more picks from Chroma.
And it's also interesting the kind of picks they banned on the second phase. They banned Jace, they banned the Gwen, and on the other side, Milieu and Lulu, these enchanters. Now they picked the Trundle there on Big Chroma. What is the potential R5 they might pick here, J-Real?
So I'm not sure where they're putting the Trundle, because it could actually go top, but it could also be in the jungle. If they have the Maokai, I assume that would actually be played by Trez, and by the looks of things, they're going to lock the Blitzcrank as well, so that could be a top lane Trundle. We'll have to see when they swap around. I like it a lot. I think it gives Crow a lot of potential. It kind of goes back to what they had in the second game, though, more than the first, because Trundle, a really good split pusher, and also really good at cutting through tanks, so I like the adaptation into the Ornn. They have, however, picked a little bit of a weirder comp than I would have liked, right? They've played themselves into a situation where they do have some teamfight potential, but they're going to have to weather this G2 storm, and we've seen how that can curse other teams, and I do wonder if Big Chroma are going to suffer on the fact that they're not going to have time to scale into the late game comp they can be.
Exactly, that is one of the main questions, because on the other side, Solari, we have G2 Hell, we have that scaling potential and those tools to, if they reach to the later stages of the game, they are going to be a problem.
Listen, We talked a lot about the support supremacy today, right? And in this game, it's going to be as bright and as obvious as ever. Clumbable is playing Soraka. Clumbable in late game is going to keep everybody on her team alive, which is going to be super important for them because they're going to have the damage. Kaltis is going to scale up. Vieger and Nico are going to feel really nice going to the late game, plus Olin providing them with the ornaments. The late game is looking good. But this Soraka, as long as she lives, G2 are untouchable. But the moment she goes down, G2 go down pretty much with her. And this Blitzcrank pick for Lumi might just be the death of Columbo.
I love Blitzcrank being picked into enchanters in general, but in this kind of winning condition that G2 Hell have on this Soraka, as you mentioned, Solari, this Blitz is going to be crucial as well, because they do have that control, but they do have some peak potential that they showed on the first and the second game. So, okay, let's see. Based on these two comps, based on these long games and the previous series and everything these teams have presented us so far, who do you think has the most tools or comfort? I'm asking you to weight everything. So to weight the picks, the compositions, the players, the playstyles, the mental, everything. Who's gonna win it? This is, I love to throwing these easy questions for you.
Oh yeah, you do.
Do you want to go first, Solari?
No.
Okay, all right. I'll kick us off. I think that G2 are going to win. I think they're going to win because I think that they are the ones that have all of the control in the earlier stages, and I think that it is going to be quite hard for Big Chroma to kind of turn their game into their hands unless they can find huge leads in that top side and Malka can be really proactive. It is going to be hard because they have that ticking time bomb of that Kassadin onto that level 16, but they have to get there. And that is something that G2 kind of have in control. If they can get those early mid-game team fights snowballing, then we may not get to see Big Chroma reach their full potential.
But that's the thing. If Kassa reaches to a stage of the game where he's useful, that the same applies to G2 Hell. So, Solari, do you agree here with J-Real? Who do you think has better chances to take this win?
It's hard to say who has better chances, but I can tell you for whom winning is going to be easier. Let's put it this way. And I think this is G2 Hell. Because their team composition is much easier to execute. It is a very straightforward play by the book, front to back. You have very good front line. You want to have resets as much as possible. You want to be team fighting. You love team fighting, especially later on in the game. Keep your backline safe. Throw forward your front line. Add up some control from Meeker, and you should be fine into this game. For Big Chroma, the win cons are much harder to point out. They need to rely on control. They need to find good peaks. They need to find good flanking maneuvers. Trundle needs to get going in the early game, which is going to be hard for him. But if all those things somehow miraculously are going to be combined for Big Chroma, they can really heavily go over G2 Hell.
They can. But once again, it's really important that they take a deep breath entering this match. No, I mean, this goes for both teams. They really need to take a deep breath, to set their priorities right, to communicate, and to keep the morale up. Because otherwise, this can go a really fast game. I don't think so. The picks don't show it that way. I think this is going to be a long game, a long last game to end up this grand finale, to end up this Pathfinders 2. So without further ado, J-Real, Solari, the floor is yours.
Here we go. The last game of Pathfinders 2, the last game of this series. One winner here gets crowned queen. Will it be the reigning champions G2 Hell, or will we get new members on the throne? Big Chroma looking to pick up their final win, their most important win of the day. And we're kicking it off with two 5-man events.
Yeah, but they're both looking for each other on different sides of the jungle, so it's not exactly going to work out for anybody. But listen, some deep words are going to go into the play here. And I don't know about you, but for me, and I know for sure that for some of the players as well, this is already quite past midnight, so everybody is super tired. Remember, G2 Hell have been playing. It is their 6th game in a row already, back to back, with very short breaks in between. The nerfs are high. Big have been playing today before G2 as well, so they also have had a lot to go through today. Also 3 of those games in their own semi-finals. Everybody's tired. Everybody wants to go to sleep. Everybody just wants to win quickly. But then they pick the compositions that are like, hey, we don't want to do anything in the early game. We just want to scale heavily.
Late game is secured, but is a win assured for either team? I think that, as we said, it's going to be very mixed. It's going to be very much on the gameplay. I think if the game goes anything like last game, Big have a huge chance to win. Because Kassadin, late game, is not what you want to play against, right? And G2, yes, they have a lot of ways to survive, but as you said, Colombia is going to be quite an important part of their comp, and people that are good at killing squishy supports, well, Kassadin is on the top of that list. But how are we going to see the early game played out, right? We got Sheena on the top side. We also have Trez on the top side. So it feels like both are going to be pathing down to that bot lane.
Quite possibly. Neither of these AD carries really want to have things accelerated. But other than that, where do you have things going? To be honest, top looks like a very possible scenario for Big, because again, Trundle is super strong in the early. Trundle has a lot of dueling potential and a lot of fighting potential in the early game. He has a lot of damage there. So you might want to go there. But at the same time, if you're a Big right now, you have such a good leash for you on the ball lane. It is a guaranteed kill confirmed for you on Lumi if she lands a hook onto the enemy. And we know Lumi. We have seen Lumi enough throughout this weekend already. She is going to land at least one of those sooner or later on the bot lane, as long as it's going to be on Kalamba. But that's okay. Okay, that's damage. That's good. Yeah, but that's the demo version of what's going to be happening on the bot lane very soon.
Yeah, and obviously Cactus does have the spell shield, is going to be able to avoid that if that is up, so definitely going to be one to keep track of, as Sheena going for the aggressive invade here onto Trez, and I don't know if this is actually going to work out for them. It's quite a bold strategy, especially considering how much movement we can get from this big Chroma bot lane, but actually it has worked out in their favor. They've been able to get successfully into the jungle, and now might be able to catch Trez off guard.
They won the blue buff. They already have the blue buff. Giving the second blue buff to Columbo is going to be a nice addition to the G2's bot lane potential. They're going to stay safe on the lane. They're going to feel nice there. But Sheena is securing this one. Trez couldn't really find any answer to it whatsoever. Even with rotating the bot lane for Big Chroma to the jungle, couldn't really find any angle onto the enemy. So the stalemate continues, even though Sheena doesn't really see it as a stalemate. She's constantly in the enemy's jungle now.
She is indeed, and stealing away a lot of camps. I'm surprised that Big haven't really had much of a response to this, but I guess Tifa able to push in those waves. Kassadin still very low and weak in the early stages. And in terms of Ezreal as well, not have the greatest fighting potential. Maokai doesn't want to get cut down by Viego. So early on, having to just play it safe, having to give over a lead. But one thing I don't want to see is Big, although we said have to scale, getting over lots and lots of leads and giving G2 free passes.
Oh, no, it cannot happen. Because for Big, they need to make sure that the late game happens for them as soon as possible. At the same time, Kermac on the top lane doesn't really want to be behind because it's Trundle. Trundle dislikes playing from behind quite a lot. For Big, as much as they would like to see it safely and nicely and just wait for the levels to hit in, the moment this level 6 is hit on the bot lane, I want to see action from Big, because this is a major power spike for Kassadin. So much mobility immediately unlocked for him. And even though right now he's sitting back, you know, he's just a little silly small mid laner trying to farm up. The moment this level 6 is up, forget that he has shield as first item. Forget everything you know about Kassadin. Vixen is going to go in.
Yeah, and on such a historic pick for them as well. You know, we haven't even seen it in the tournament yet, but this is one they do get known for. So the fact that they're pulling out in the last game means a lot. But we'll see how they can navigate this one, because Tifa on this Nico is quite a scary prospect. We saw it in game 1, it caused major issues, and it's so scary that they banned it in game 2. So bringing it back with a really strong team fight comp from G2, I'm expecting big things.
I'm expecting big things from Big. I'm expecting big things from everybody in this game. Remember, this is game number 3 of the grand final of Pathfinders 2. Whoever wins this one wins everything. Wins the crown, maybe taking it away from G2, or maybe defending the title for the first time in the history of Pathfinders. This is the game where everything is at stake, so everybody's playing it super seriously, and you can see G2 already are taking it quite seriously, quite to the heart, by taking the first Drake of the game.
Ooh, level 6 for Vixen. That's the first timer hit.
Here we go.
10 more, and it is potentially over, but that is still quite a long time in the future. First dragon there going to be picked up by G2, and I feel like the dragons have been a pretty good way to measure how the teams are feeling about the game. In the first game, with big leads, were able to take over those early objectives, whereas G2 in these last two have got the early ones secured for themselves. And I do wonder if we maybe see a little bit more aggro, a little bit more fighting around it this game, because as you said, Big can't just give over these leads, they have to scrap at some point. But first Drake happily taken by G2 Hell. We'll see how they play around this Rift Herald as well.
Which is interesting and very unfortunate for Big, because they have a lot of prior on the bot lane. They have Blitzcrank, who is a constant kill threat to G2's bot lane, but they couldn't really use it. They couldn't really transfer it to anything on this part of the map, which means right now Big, in terms of objectives, need to try to play around the top lane, where again, they have Trundle, a very good win con for you when it comes to fighting for the objectives and securing the access to the Herald and the Herald itself. Trundle is feeling okay on the lane so far, but Lizzie is alone. Lizzie is on the comfort Big. She is playing the champion she knows well and she loves so much. This is not going to be an easy thing to try to bite for Big.
Yeah, but when you get level 6, Subjugate does cause major issues for tanks, and obviously in those team fights as well, the Ornn being cut down to size could maybe give G2 a little bit of false sense of security around that Ornn, but we'll have to see. As right now in the bot lane, Trez is looking for a gank, but so far around these minions, G2 are playing well. There is the spell shield as well. Countess just able to keep themselves safe, and that means no gank in the bot side.
Nope, not possible anymore. Ooh, quite some damage there from Ezreal onto Soraka, but again, Soraka is going to be locked out, unfortunately, till the rest of the for the rest of the game. But yes, they're fighting on the top lane, J-Real.
They are indeed, and here comes Sheena. There's the knock-up and the damage coming through from the Viego, the Heartbreaker, but the Subjugate, a bit of healing back, but it's not going to be enough. Sheena picks up their first kill of the game, and what a way to do it. At least you're setting them up and getting that Viego snowballing.
Very strong beginning of the game for G2, especially on the top lane, setting Trundle behind. Cultist!
They managed to prop the spell shield with the Mystic Shot there. Such good timing coming out from Xavi. And there we go, Countess having to burn that flash already, and now here comes Vixen. They're looking for another play. Hook maybe just about coming up, and it is going to force G2 back, but Trez is there as well, and I don't know if they can see them from the ward. I believe they can actually. Colombia, they're stepping forward, going to do a bit of damage to the tree, and actually rooting them down. Trez has to be a little bit careful here, because on comes Tifa. Level 6 is their Pop Blossom going to be used, and Trez caught out. Countess given a free kill.
And G2 are given the free time to do whatever they want on the map. Big lost so much time there on the bot and rotating so many members of that team there. And look at what Sheena did in the meantime. She got the Herald because nobody was there to stop her. Nobody could be there to stop it, unfortunately, for Big. They're losing quite a lot on the map right now. Lost both of the objectives that were up by this point. Lost the possibility to do something on the bot lane. Gave away 2 kills to G2. G2 are up to a very good beginning of the game.
They're starting off well, and we talked about how they were the ones who have the control across the game. If they don't let Big get into a scaling position, then they can close this one out, and they are sticking to that game plan. They are up 1,200 gold, just around the 9-minute mark. They have a dragon, and I imagine they're going to be going pretty aggressively towards that Rift Herald when it's up.
Oh yes, absolutely. But right now, look at that. Chroma is moving through the enemy jungle. Big are realizing how much of a trouble Sheena is. You can see it from the bounce in the draft for this game, but also right now they're trying to understand how Sheena is navigating around the map at any given time. They want to provide a little bit more additional security and safety for their laners, and by doing that, what they did before, by trying to see how Sheena is moving, they're trying to do exactly that. But Limmy, that could have been a good pickup, but there needs to be a next pickup somewhere soon. The Drake is coming up very soon.
Lysia causing problems for Chromac as well, who is now trying to proxy farm underneath this tower, trying to get those waves crashing in, but you need to be a little bit careful. You need to respect the Ornn decently. As we talked about, Ornn can do quite a bit of damage themselves, but Chromac going to just be able to kill off these minions, may go back to base as well. Fortunately for them, Sheena is going down to that bot side, so not going to be pressed about the jungle assistance.
Very good timing from Sheena to be on the bot side of the map, 18 seconds before the Drake is going to spawn. need to help out the bot lane a little bit because they're still being heavily pushed in. Yes, there is a lot of wave clear coming in from Cultist, but Blitzcrank again is just too big of a threat for G2 to disregard, and they need to be very careful about how they move around their bot lane. Right now though, Vixen on the mid lane could rotate to the Drake very quickly. This is Kassadin, remember, about all the additional mobility and about all the additional damage. Good moves from Sheena yet again, realizing exactly what I was talking about. It's like she's listening to me sometimes.
Doesn't manage to get the stun onto Kassadin, but obviously Riftwalk gets them away, and now Sheena getting grabbed. This could be dangerous. Gets knocked up, but saved alive. Pop Blossom coming out, and that catches out one. Vixen gonna be able to get away, but grabbed back from Sheena, turns into Blitzcrank and pulls them back in, and that's gonna be 3 members. G2 storming forward. We talked about the early game. We talked about getting ahead, and they are doing just that. Xavi, the last one killed off. Dragon secured, and mid lane crashed by the Herald.
Whenever there is a Viego on a team, what I love doing is looking at the enemy team's support. Usually there is something like Nautilus, and usually this is a very good, perfect first reset for Viego, because the only thing that Viego wants to be doing is getting those sweet, sweet resets into their pockets. And by the way, before I continue, that's another Hex Gate! That's another Hex! So what is happening in this series? Somebody did it on purpose. I swear to you, Ariel, because this is way good to be true. The RNG is broken in this game. Somebody re-roll the dice, or better not. But coming back to it, Lumi is giving such a perfect reset for G2 right now. The moment Sheena can grab this Blitzcrank, this could be the game over for Big, because it's the same situation as Silas. All of a sudden, your perfect tools are being used against you.
Yeah, and it was such a good grab as well, right? I thought Vixen was going to get away, the Rift walked out, and then boom, one grab snatches them back, the Hand of God, taking Kassadin away from safety and into the team of G2, where they were easily snatched up and finished off. And now G2 sitting with a really strong gold lead. They are up 3k before the 13-minute mark, and they have 2 dragons already. They're starting to force this tempo that we talked about, and how I was a little bit worried about Big Chroma. Well, that worry is getting larger and larger.
The biggest worry about Kassadin is whether the late game is going to arrive for this Kassadin. It does look like G2 are doing everything in their hands, in everything possible to make sure that the late game is never there for Vixen, which is super unfortunate because, again, I was really looking forward to this Kassadin pick. We all, I believe, have been waiting for it to actually happen for Vixen, but when it happens, G2 are just so damn strong in the early game. Let's see if they can manage to continue pushing the momentum a little bit further, because right now Tifa is not in a good spot.
Ooh, Pop Blossom is going to buy a bit of time, though. There's the damage. Good root coming out from Trez. But look at the damage back from Tifa. A little bit more could kill the bottom. Vixen is also low. They need to run away. They will get out of the vicinity. But again, another big play from G2. Another showing of why they are the champions, of why they are such a strong team to play against. And they are looking to put their pedal to the metal. They are looking to close this one out in good fashion, in a clean game, because any mistake could be capitalized on by Big Chroma, but so far they've not found the opening.
Sheena, look at her, she's on the top lane, she sees Chroma, she sees a target!
Here comes the Ornhorn, the knockup going to be coming through. Subjugate is giving Chromac quite a lot of stats, but it's not enough. The Heartbreaker comes through, and Sheena now turning into Trundle. They are going to munch through this tower.
Oh yes, that is going to be a sweet, sweet tower to munch on. As much as a tower can be sweet, to be honest. I don't know, I will have to think about it. But it is definitely a sweet one for GT, because it's going to be the first break of the game. Right in time for the next dragon to be spawning soon. Good time to be rotating towards the bot lane, but not before they take care of the Herald, because it's going to spawn soon. Perfect time to have the Prior on the top lane.
And gold lead to all the members of G2. None of them are behind, and look at the lead that Sheena has accrued. We've talked about this player so many times, about how they have consistently got leads for themselves, and once again in the games that matter they are ahead, and this time they have started to put it on the rest of the team as well. Countess has been slowly accruing kills, 3-0 at the moment, and the rest of the team are also still picking up wins. As we've seen, we've talked about Vixen on this Kassadin, hasn't been able to flourish yet because Tifa is playing so well.
Tifa is insane in this game, to be honest. That gank on the mid lane from Trez almost resulted in a double kill for Tifa. She is so good on Nico. With Nico pick, I love Nico as a champion, but I'm usually a little bit suspicious about her. But Tifa is the one I would trust with this pick, but Sheena is on the top lane again!
A shark in the water, they smell the blood. Chromac gonna get lifted up. and taken down by Sheena and Lesia. Another kill gonna fall, and Sheena is just capitalizing on any mistake the Big make.
I feel like G2 really took the previous game very close to their heart, because this is a different level of gameplay that we are seeing from the Hell right now. They are very damn serious. 8-0 already. A massive gold lead for them. I'm not even going to try to calculate. You'll do that for me because you're a good friend, I know it. But they are leading absolutely everywhere on the map. Have another Herald in their pockets. Are going to rotate also Drake right now. Big are trying to establish some vision control around it, because so far the Prior on the bottom has been the only thing they've been trying to work around. Not too much success, because 2 dragons are still on the side of G2.
Yeah, pretty much a 5k gold lead at that 16-minute mark. Next dragon is spawning 22 seconds before the first Hex Drake, and it looks like G2 have no intention of giving Big any room to take one away from them. Vixen going to use that TP. Level 11 now, 2 points into the Rift Walk, is starting to become a little bit dangerous, a little bit one that you got to watch out for. But Sheena is a monster at this moment, the nightmare that you don't want to fall asleep to. And right now G2 are just controlling the river.
She's the monster in the jungle. You could read in some fairy tales, Ossipus, but right now might be caught out.
Ooh, getting grabbed back. There's the lockup from the Maokai, but the Heartbreaker giving a bit of space. Now the flash away and the pop blossom in from Tifa buys time for the team. Chromac now in the middle of the fight, going to steal the stats from Lesia and gets a lot of HP, a lot of tankiness, but has to walk away. The damage from Countess is raining in. Look at Chromac have to run back, and G2 secure the dragon.
Only now releasing their health. Look at that, but the fight is not over, because this damage from Ezreal hitting absolutely everybody with the cannon barrage was insane. Blossom healing coming in from Big. Can they bounce back and take this dragon?
Tifa causing problems, sending the clone in, making them a little bit nervous. Lumi gonna throw out a hook there, but not gonna find anyone. Trez stepping up, the Ezreal doing a bit of damage, but Lesia is quite tanky, can just stand forward, and now the Countess clone gonna force them back once again. We're playing front and back as we now see tower in the bot lane is taken on the side, but G2 still looking for this. Trez going in for the steal, but it's not going to be so. Smite from Sheena does secure it, but now the fight after is going to be looking good for Big, but there is the damage coming around from the Viego. Sheena is still alive, but finally goes down. But Tifa, can they make this theirs? Can they hold out? Because Vixen is looking massive in this fight, jumping forward, Rift Walk, but Tifa with the blast cone gets away. It's a 4 for 2 over to the side of Big Chroma.
Oh, that could have been the death of Tifa, to be honest, but it doesn't hit her, so she is still fine. She's the only member of G2 living after this Drake fight. Yes, they got the Drake. Yes, they got the soul point, but the price they had to pay was a really high one. Big managed to get some really good pickups in there. The fact that G2 were so grouped in together, the fact that they couldn't really get any healing down while they were still getting the damage from Big flying their way, while Big took a lot of time to go back, to get the fruit in, to get honey fruit, you know, get a little bit of the health back. Chroma going all the way back to the bottom, not just to get the trade, but also try to heal up a little bit themselves, because they have the Blade of the Rune King, and after that they come back and they have the health advantage versus G2, and they take the kills. Finally, Big are finding at least some footing in this game.
And it's about time. They had to find something, and fortunately for them, they do. And Vixen is starting to become scary and scarier. Tifa in a bit of trouble there. Pop Blossom will buy a bit of time, but there's a science. Column Blue, a massive play there. Doesn't allow Vixen to use their spells, and they pay for it with their life, and they don't manage to pick up Tifa. Huge rotation from the support of G2 Health.
Enchanters are so fun to watch. I don't know how people can hate on Enchanters. They can do so much in a good team fight. It takes a lot of good hands, because for an engager, I love engagers too, but it's just, you know, one big hook, everybody sees it, everybody loved it, everybody is clapping for Enchanters. You need to do so many small things, sometimes special, specific champions. For Columbable, she is risking her life every single time she's out there away from the tavern, but she's doing a tremendous job keeping Cultists alive for so many fights already, but also providing a lot of very nasty control against the enemies.
Xavi, they're stepping up, showing that they are also quite a dangerous threat. They've managed to build a gold lead against Countess, and they are definitely very much in this game with those 3 kills they picked up in that team fight. But right now, can they use this to open up the map? Can they get this one tower grab there from Illumi onto Tifa, able to hold them back? Sheena now forcing them away. Trez in bigger danger, although with that Bramble Smash, will be able to walk back out of this one. Sheena, the danger woman, again causing issues for the side of Big Chroma. And talking about issues, Chromac might be the one that has them soon, because it might be Sheena back onto this top side once again. Lesia is trying to close them down. Ornhorn available. Here they go. Knockup is there. And in comes Viego. A little bit more damage to add. And good night to Chrome.
Sheena is very, very scared right now. Probably the scariest person on the side of G2. Oh my goodness, Trez, that was really risky there for the both parties, to be honest. But, oh my god. Oh my god, it could just be a fight here. Look at Columbable's health bar and look at Vixen in the meantime on the bot lane.
Vixen isn't there. This is a lot of damage that they would be missing, but I do kind of like the play. Get that advantage, get that experience, build yourself into that level 16 machine that you need to become. As Columbable did so much damage there, so did Tifa, and now the grab, going to be able to catch out Lysia, but that's a very tanky Ornn they've got there, and now here comes the Pop Blossom. Trez lifted up, they've already picked up the kill onto Lumi, but here comes Vixen to join the fight, and G2, a little bit scared, going to play it safe.
Vixen cannot really find anybody, but Chroma is going to finish Vixen's job there on the bot lane, removing this inner turret from the bot lane of G2. Helen Vixen right now is surely going to get this turret, and those are not just the turrets, that is also the objective on this on them. Correction, Vixen is not going to be able to get this turret thanks to Sheena. Back to Sheena, by the way, speaking of that 614, this woman is really scary right now. 2 items and a half completed for her. A lot of defensive stats on that Viego, which is working fine because Viego is so far ahead of everybody already that he's dealing a lot of damage to enemies and doesn't really need to boost them more at this point in this game. Sheena is scary, especially because of how aggressive she has been so far, going really deep into the enemies, not scared of absolutely anything or anybody.
Unfortunately for Trez, they are playing Maokai. They don't need to be in a massive gold lead, but it does sometimes help. And talking about health, Lumi almost helping Sheena to their death because that grab once again coming through and connecting. But Dragon is up 18 seconds on the timer. Dragon, potential soul point for G2, and Hextech is one they do want to secure right now, forcing back any sort of resemblance of an aggression from Big. As right now, Calvin's getting aggressive. Oh, there's the knockup at the Pop Blossom, and on the Ornhorn goes down the ADC. They've taken out Zarvi, but here comes Vixen in the mixer. Level 14, not the 16 just yet, but Sheena in the backside of the fight takes down another, and now roots up Vixen, knocks them back into the team, and is just playing aggressively onto this Kassadin. No chance to escape. A triple to the Viego, another reset, and potentially another Dragon for G2.
Another one, and another one, says Sheena, going into the fight again. Reset after a reset after a reset, and a dragon after a dragon after a dragon. That is going to be a quick soul. One of the quickest ones we have seen today, and definitely the quickest one we saw in this series today. But look at that. The thing is, both the teams have really good tools to stop the fights from afar, but at this point, for Maokai, the ultimate is not available, while for Ornn, it is there, and it is going to be used from really far away, buying enough time for the team to come in, to close up, and after that, when G2 are all together, when they're grouped up, it is so damn hard to do anything about them, because they have everything. They have the survivability, they have the damage, they have the heals, they have whatever they want. Everything is there for the team.
And the target selection out of G2 is exquisite, right? They immediately get rid of Zarvi, the most fed member of Big Chroma. Then they can start moving on to the other aspects of the team. They pick up Vixen as well. They don't let that Kassadin get away at all. And they have kept this lead pushing and pushing. We talked about having control over the early game. We talked about not allowing Big to scale into the game, and they are doing just that. They are 5k gold in the lead. They have claimed all of the Dragons. The Baron could be the next that they set their sights on, and they are completely winning these team fights.
How can they even fight G2 right now? 16-4. They have the hacks, they saw all the health, they have so many items, and they have all the ultimates available for them as well, but Big are closing. Why do they want to try to take this Drake? Sorry, the Baron in their hands.
They are going for it. They do have most of their members. And look, Tifa is a ward. She comes out of it big. Knock up. And the Ornhorn follows through. That's 3 down immediately. You cannot forget that Nico is alive and kicking. And goodbye to Big in that team fight.
That was... You cannot make it up, G-Real. You cannot make this engage from G2 up. That was insane. The amount of reactivity from everybody on the team, the amount of immediate follow-up onto Big, there is so much control thrown at them. at the very same second that G2 decide to pull the trigger, and so much burst damage coming out of them as well. There is nothing Big can do to stop it. G2 are feeling really untouchable at this point in the game.
But they have to close it out. We've seen how that can be an important part of the game. They need to finish the job. They need to get it done. And right now, Tifa is a minion. She is a minion. I thought they were going to maybe walk all of the way, but now...
I didn't know that when Nico turns into a minion, she doesn't get the burn buff on her. What is a giveaway?
Yeah.
Oh, Trez! Why?
Talking about giveaway though, Trez is giving away his life there, and that is another pickup for G2, and this could be game ending. Kassadin is still not level 16. G2 are not allowing Big Chroma to scale, and they have Baron buff, and they are pushing in these waves.
Oh yes, look at them using this Baron buff to their fullest on 2 lanes at the same time, and yes, Chroma is trying to do something on the top lane and is getting the objective bounties. She is just one Trundle against the whole enemy team, and they're closing in. They really want to finish this game as soon as possible. GRL, everybody is so tired. Everybody just wants to be done, but G2 want to be done with the crown still on their heads.
Right now, Sheena and Lysia, they're pushing in. They managed to pick up the tower. They're now looking for the inhibs as well in both mid and the bot lane. Vixen stepping forward, though, needs to be cautious because Scout is doing a lot of damage. And here comes the Ornhorn. They are ready to fight. They are ready to scrap. And Blitzcrank is going to go down first. Sheena, though, in a tough situation, going to have to go into stasis. But the pop blossom comes through. And Tifa gets another big knock up. Another kill over. Sheena picks up the reset. And it is all G2 in the base of Big Chroma. They did not let them scale. The Trundle was pushing for the base race, but it is not going to be enough. G2 Hell will claim the crown of Pathfinders 2.
Pathfinders 1 champions are getting the crown of the Pathfinders 2 as well. Huge congratulations to G2 Hell, because for the second time in a row already, they're proving to us that they are the champions, that they are the strongest team that we have in Pathfinders right now.
Congrats to G2 Hell. I want to say shout out to Sheena and shout out to this jungler. She has been absolutely electric, just dominant in all the games, building leads every single time, win or lose for G2. And I also want to say G2 be scaling. Like game 1, G2 not really performing. Game 2, stronger, but not necessarily all the way there. Game 3, G2 looking dominant, looking undefied. And they definitely deserved that crown. They pick up the win 2-1 against Big Chroma. And what a way to do it, Solari. You know, very dominant fashion.
They be smurfing in this last game, J-World. This was absolutely the strongest performance we have seen from G2 Hell so far in this tournament. We're really happy that they're ending on this high note, because this is the last game for them in which they prove to us that they are still the crowned champions. So again, just huge congratulations to everybody on the team of G2 Hell.
And also, congratulations to Big Chroma as well. They still put up a big fight. They put up a big show. But talking about show, we are going to throw to a quick break. When we come back, Anna will break us down through this game, and we'll talk a little bit more about the champions.